Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am St. Louis Pastor Paul, and today I want to talk to you about something very beautiful, rainbows. I'm sure you've all seen rainbows. They are very beautiful, and I love nature. I love astronomy. I love outdoorsy stuff, and a big reason that I love that, from hunting to fishing to walking outside to looking at the stars, is just the beauty that you see in nature. And one of the most beautiful things is rainbows. And if, seeing them in person definitely beats seeing it in a picture. But I've got a picture one here just to remind you what it looks like. But I want to remind you that in addition to being incredibly beautiful, they're also, the Bible describes them as a weapon. In Genesis, God floods the entire earth, and Noah builds an ark, and he saves humanity and animals by loading them onto this boat. And God floods the entire world. God did that, apparently, or symbolically, or however you want to say it. God did that, or maybe even really did actually use a rainbow, but he used a rainbow to do that. And so when you think of a rainbow, I want you to think of a bow and arrow, except instead of shooting arrows, you're shooting rain. And that's what God did with the rainbow. Maybe metaphorically, maybe he actually did, who knows? It's kind of weird to think of using a rainbow as a weapon. But regardless, a rainbow either actually is or represents a weapon of planetary destruction. And just so you can understand, I want to read through just some of Genesis chapter 9, and this is starting in verse 8. It says, "Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, Behold, I establish my covenant with you and your offspring after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and every beast of the earth, with you, as many as came out of the ark. For it is for every beast of the earth. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, This is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you, for all future generations. I have set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth, and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. God said to Noah, This is the sign of the covenant that I've established between me and all flesh that is on the earth." So this is what God says after the flood, after Noah has returned to dry ground. And I want to point out that he doesn't actually call it a rainbow. He just calls it, "This is my bow, and my bow in the clouds." What's he talking about? He's talking about a rainbow. And God says, "I will never again flood the earth and destroy all flesh," which is really important, because had God not done that, when it starts to rain, sometimes we'd have to wonder, is this flood going to kill us all? Like it happened once in the past, maybe it's going to happen again. And especially for someone like Noah. Like, can you imagine the PTSD Noah went through the first time it started to thunderstorm after he had, been through the flood? He's like, oh man, this is scary. But then there's the rainbow to remind him, look, I know last time this happened, the whole world got flooded, but this time it's going to be different. So the rainbow is like a weapon of war. It's like a bow and arrow, except you shoot rain with it, and God used it to flood the earth, and God puts it up in the sky, and it's, a rainbow. We'll go back to the picture here. A rainbow, if you're looking at this as a bow and arrow, here's the bow, and it's pointing away from the earth. That's significant. It's as though God is not pointing the bow toward the earth. In other words, it's almost as though God put the bow in the clouds, as though he hung his bow on the wall. You know, if you're an archer, you might take your bow and hang it on the wall because you're not going to use it. And it's like God took his bow and put it in the clouds because he's not going to use it. And so this is a sign that God established to remind himself and to remind us, not that, you know, God doesn't forget in the same way that we do. But the point is that if we ever get scared because, oh, it's raining and it's a really bad storm, and we see the rainbow, we're reminded, hey, it might be a really bad storm. It might even flood here, but at least it's not going to flood the whole earth. And that's really important, especially when you consider that God will return one day. He will destroy the earth with fire, but it will not be with water. And so God is just showing us that, look, I know rain is scary. Sometimes, especially when it's a bad thunderstorm. If you guys have not lived in the Midwest of the United States, I can guarantee you, storms get so bad here, you get an adrenaline rush from how scary it gets. And I love it. I love, oh man, this is so bad we could die today. But yeah, thunder and lightning and storms, especially if you're outside and not in shelter, can be very scary. But we have the comfort of the rainbow, and so did Noah, and that was probably really important to him after surviving the torrential floods that came with the flood in the Bible. Anyways, just wanted to remind you guys that the rainbow is beautiful. It's also incredibly deadly, incredibly powerful. It is a weapon of planetary destruction. When you compare that with a nuclear bomb, the rainbow is more powerful. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. Look forward to talking with you guys next time.